Hi. So I recorded like a step-by-step process of how I make the bread, but I wanted to also let you know about the starter. So I gave you some starter. You need to let it sit out on the counter. I would let it, now that you've refrigerated it, I would let it sit on the counter for at least 24 hours. And then I would feed it. And then let it sit on the counter again for 24 hours and then feed it again. And I would probably feed it twice the day that you want to use it. So like get up in the morning and feed it at like 8 in the morning, and then pour half of it out and then feed it again at like 12 or 1 around there in the sometime in the afternoon, and then let it grow. And once you see it start growing, you can use it. So you'll see your starter start responding. So you have to wait for it to be responding before you can make dough with it. So I think that's the best way to put it. So set it out on the counter for 24 hours since it's been refrigerated, and then feed it in the morning, and then see if it grows at all. If it doesn't, the next day, dump half out, feed it again, and then in the afternoon feed it again, and dump some out and then feed it again, and see if it doesn't start growing. Hopefully it will. But be patient. You don't have to refrigerate it if you're going to make bread, even if it's out on the counter for a week or two. Just the only thing that's really important is that you feed it so that it doesn't starve. It has to have some whole wheat flour in there for the glutens to start, eating. If you change the flour, you can use a different kind of flour, but if you change the flour, it takes it a while to kick it back into gear. If you use the whole wheat flour that I've been using for the starter, then it'll kick back into gear more quickly. So, okay, I hope this helps. Now, the following videos are just little snippets of my whole process. Also, I wanted to mention that I said I was going to let the bread rise until 12:30, but in the middle of that at about 10:30, you'll see that I take it out of the oven while it's rising, and I do a stretch on it. That's just to help. The stretches you don't have to, but I feel like you get a better crumb. You get the nice big holes in the crumb like a sourdough is supposed to have if you stretch it. And some people stretch it up to 4 times. I only stretch mine once when I'm doing the salt, and then one other time. That's how I've been doing it. Okay, good luck. Okay, my sourdough started right here, and I fed it at like probably 3:30 this afternoon. It's now 8 o'clock, and we've grown, at least doubled. So I'm going to open it. That's what it looks like, all those really nice bubbles. See all those? Okay. So now we're going to measure. We are going to put 100 grams sourdough starter in here. Okay, perfect. Tear it out. And now I'm going to put 350 grams of water in the same bowl. Almost a little bit more. And it's warm water. Not hot, but warm. 352, that'll work. Okay, now I'm going to mix this in nicely. tear this out. I'm going to use just gold medal bread flour. The sourdough starter was made with wheat flour, but whole wheat flour, but this is just bread flour. Gonna do 500 grams. Okay, perfect. Okay, now I'm going to take my clean hand and I'm going to mix this around until all the flour is incorporated. It's going to be hard to do this with one hand, but because I'm usually turning the bowl too. Okay, I'm going to turn this off and do this, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, it's a shaggy dough. The flour is incorporated, and I just want to show you my hand. It's a very sticky dough. I'm going to scrape this off with my bench scraper, and then I'm going to let it sit for 30 minutes in autolyse, which means just letting it sit and let the glutens start, whatever the glutens do, let them start doing that. Okay. Okay, it's been autolysing for half an hour now. And that's what it looks like now. Still shaggy, but you can see that it's wet. My hand's wet. See, I wet my hand. And now we're gonna do salt. So let me get that, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna take a handful of salt. It's not a handful, it's probably, I don't know, tablespoon. Supposed to be 2%, I believe, salt. And then I'm going to, with my wet hand, stretch this and stretch it. You can see all that gluten. It's not shaggy anymore. It's like, what? Stretch it. And I'm going to again wet my hand. And just fold this into each other. Just try to get that salt incorporated. Okay, just a little bit. You don't have to do a lot. Okay, and now I'm going to put this into a different pan so I can see that it has risen once it does rise. So hold on a sec. Okay, I took it out of that pan. And it's very sticky dough. So I used my bench scraper to kind of scrape it out. And then I plopped it into this dish. And I kind of feel like I can see more when it rises, when I have it in a dish like this. Now what I'm going to do is cover this dish with a wet towel. And then I'm going to put it in a plastic grocery bag and tie it. And then I'm going to stick it here in my oven. Oh, look, you can see my oven's dirty on the inside. Stick it here in my oven with the light on and let it rise. It is 8:30 at night, so I'm going to have to get up probably at midnight or so because I started this so late. I'm going to have to get up at midnight to put this in the refrigerator, but I will show you the process when I am doing that. Again, I'm going to let this rise. It's 8:30. I'll probably let this rise until 12:30. That's about what it seems to take when I do this. Okay. Okay, I have this. There's a wet towel under there, and then this just wrapped it up and tied it. This Walmart bag. And now I'm going to put it in here and leave the light on in my stove until 12:30. It's again 8:30, well 8:35 now. Okay. Okay, it's 10:30 and I'm checking on it. I also want to do a fold, and I'm going to show you how to do a fold here. So I take a clean wet hand and grab it, stretch, fold, turn it, stretch and fold, turn it. I'm gonna wet my hand again. Get underneath that dough, stretch, fold, get underneath it, stretch and fold. I'm gonna get underneath here. I'm gonna flip this over. There, flip it over. And then I'm gonna cover it again and let it rise for another couple hours. And back into the oven she goes. It is 10:41. Okay, this is my little bread basket. I'm going to show you how I do this, but I only have one hand, so this is the liner. I'm going to put that on right now. Okay, the liner's on. And now I'm going to take rice flour because it doesn't absorb into the bread, and it'll keep it from sticking to the basket. Okay, I just wanted to say that when I touch this, I can feel the heat. It's warm, and it's not just from, obviously, the light in the oven. It is, you know, from all the activity that's going on in there, and it's warming it up. Okay, this is what it looks like now. It's risen. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to scrape it out onto my counter. Okay, there it is. This dough is very wet, so I'm going to do the best I can to fold it into a nice tight ball. Just by pushing it around on the counter so we get a nice tight top to it here. See how that's tightening up? Okay, I'm doing this with one hand. It's a little difficult, but I'm doing the best I can here. Okay, nice and tight. We're getting like a skin over the top of this just by pushing it around on the counter. It's very sticky. Very, very sticky. Okay. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in here, but I'm going to put this part on the bottom and put the seam, what I would call the seam side, which is the bottom here, will be on the top. One thing I do want to note really quick before I do that is you can see all these little air pockets where the dough has risen. And that's a good sign. You want to see all those beautiful little bubbles in there. Okay, we have seam side up, like I said, and I'm going to take it and sort of pinch this seam together. Bring this up a little bit. Bring this side up. It's nice and pinched together. Then I'm going to take some more of my rice flour. Shouldn't have closed that. And I'm going to dust this again so it doesn't stick to my a little tray here. And then I'm going to cover it back up with that bag, and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator overnight. It is 12:30 right now, and I'm going to put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then I'll take it up there. Okay, it's covered. It's in the basket and covered. And then bye, bread. We'll see you in the morning. Okay, I have a Dutch oven. This is what I'm going to cook the bread in. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the oven. And then I'm going to turn the oven on to 500 degrees. And I'm going to let that heat up for probably a half an hour at least, so that the Dutch oven gets nice and hot. You can't see it through my dirty window, but it's in there. Okay, so I took it out of the refrigerator and took the plastic off of it, and this is what it looks like this morning. You can see the remnants of the rice flour. I'm going to I have a piece of parchment paper here, and I'm going to totally just flop it down on the middle of the parchment paper, like that. And I'm going to spread that rice flour around a little bit. And then I'm going to take this, show you, it's a razor, I forget what it's called. And then at a 45-degree angle, make a C here. It's going to give me a nice ear. This dough is nice and cold. And I'm also going to put a few little designs here. Just because it's fun. And let's do a few little lines. Okay, and then once this oven is hot enough, I will put it in the oven, but there's a trick there too, so I'll get back to you. Okay, take it out, and I'm going to put it in there. Okay, it's in there, but I'm also going to add ice cubes. And then I'm going to put the lid on. And let it bake like that for 20 minutes. Okay, I'm checking it. It's been 20 minutes. Okay, it's still too light, so I'm going to keep it covered for another 5 minutes. Okay, let's check it again. All right, yeah, now I'm going to leave the lid off so that it browns. I'm not getting a very good ear, but it's not too bad. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, it's starting to look good. Let's turn it. Okay, still need some more time. Okay, I took it out. It's hot. There's the design I cut into it. I didn't get a very good ear. I wish that was popping out more right here. Right here. But my design kind of popped up a little bit, so yeah, see this right here? It's nice and crunchy on the outside, and it's probably delicious on the inside. And I am going to let this sit for an hour, so that, because if you cut it too early, it'll be gummy on the inside. But that's it. We're done. Helps.